Yeah, Dave, that was actually... Sorry about that. That was me playing the AP Gaming Real intro for the first time in forever. I remembered I had it, but I forgot to mention I was playing it, and we'd have an additional 10 seconds of wait. Friends.
I thought we were waiting to play Gwent.
Yeah. I was doing the Gwent nod, too.
Yeah, that's what I was doing, man.
Welcome, friends. We live in the time of sea shanties. The other thing to recognize is that if you're watching this stream live, I'm currently dropping 8% frames for no apparent reason. Thanks for that sub, Glimo. Isn't it amazing what you can do with that Twitch Prime sub? Not only do you get access to the end of the month Patreon Twitch sub meeting, but also... you get that premium AP Gaming Real emotes, including the new shrimp emote, the new dice emote, and the new AP emote. Where would you be without these classic emotes that we all know and love?
And on top of that, you get access to Solaris Nights.
No, that's Patreon only. Sorry, buddy.
Damn it. I was trying for you.
Yeah,
I was trying for you.
Amazon Prime does not get you Solaris Nights. There it goes.
You have the shrimp emote, but not quite the shrimp spirit.
All right, so I don't really know why Twitch is really acting up today, but it's been an unusual day viewership wise because my YouTube subs are going up and my Twitch subs are going down. So for the first time in a very long time, they were both exactly at the same number, 2,500, and now they're being repelled. It's like magnets. Yes, I know how they work, Drummer. I know how they work.
You were the guy that put in an insane clown posse's faction last game or last session.
What? What are you talking about?
The ICP.
The ICP.
I have no idea what we're talking about.
They were the people that drove Wolfgang
the IPC that we kept calling ICP.
The Internet Phone Company? Oh my god! They are not the Insane Clown Posse. No, they're actually evil, unlike the Insane Clown Posse, who are not evil. What else can I say? It's been a week. For those of you who don't watch the show live, just as a reminder, last week was January the 6th, 2021, which was a pretty big day in American history, and well, people of the future watching this, it really hasn't gotten any better, actually. Everything is still fucking madness everywhere. I played Raft. Oh, I beat Last of Us 2. That's it. That's my intro. I beat The Last of Us 2 after months and months of trying. And you know what? Here's the thing. The whole time, I was like, it's literally just Critical Role. It's just Laura Bailey and Ashley Johnson having a conversation. And the last fucking NPC you talk to is Matt Mercer. I know it. I don't even have to look at the cast list. I know that he's Matt Mercer. He gets one line. He's just like, all right, look, we're going to go and we're going to take care of those guys out there. And I was like, that's Matt Mercer, 100%. They just, one line. He's in the game for one line. It's the last line.
Also, what a fucking week to end that game.
Yeah. Wow. What are they called? The Rattlers? I believe in the Rattlers now. The Rattlers could exist for real. I don't know why people didn't like it. I honestly don't know what people's issue with The Last of Us 2 was.
I think people didn't like the main antagonist character. I can't remember.
I don't know which one is the antagonist at this point. There's a whole sequence where you come up on your dead dog and you're just like, wow, whoever killed this dog must be a monster.
I don't remember her name.
Her name's Abby.
That's her name.
Okay, I just want to go ahead and say that
I know a lot of people didn't like her.
I agree with Abby, like at every point in the game. She's like, yep, Joel was a real motherfucker. I was like, so yeah, apparently, you're right.
Apparently she's considered
motherfucker.
She's considered a deuteragonist, not an antagonist.
Yes, that sounds correct.
Yeah.
That's because you play as her for half the game.
Right. I just remember people really not liking her up until the halfway point, and then people who stopped there, Mermaid not liking the game, but people who pushed on.
I didn't mind at the very beginning. They're like, Abby is terrible. And I was like, I'm glad somebody did it. Jesus. Like, Joel, listen, Joel's a monster. I was screaming at my television at the end of 1. I was like, no! Fuck you, Joel! You're a fucking monster! Abby is justice. It's vengeance in the form of justice. All right. Speaking of someone filled with justice, let's talk to... I just realized the cameras are out of order. I literally went out of my way to swap Dave and James's cameras when they didn't need to be. I don't know why I put in all that work. James.
Yes.
Let's do your intro.
James Cameron.
Okay. I don't have a lot to say this week. Actually, it's been a pretty quiet week since last time. I said the same before. I haven't played any Cyberpunk since I finished it. I've been playing more Oculus. So I finished off Vader Immortal, finished off Tales from the Galaxy's Edge.
I never heard of that.
All right,
one.
let me ask you, what is the fundamental differences that you enjoyed between Vader Immortal and Galaxy's Edge? Because I hear that they are similar in spirit. I mean, outside of obviously the control mechanics, but like.
So AP, for your benefit, these are both games by ILMX Works. So Vader Immortal is more like playing a interactive movie. It's I wouldn't say it's completely on rails, except that it's mostly on rails. It's like, if the rails were really wide and let you step a couple meters either side, but you're really still on those same rails.
Like a bowling alley. With the guard on.
I think that the immersion in Vader Immortal was really good. The only thing I noted was the game starts off, and this is not a spoiler really, the game starts off with you in orbit of Mustafar, and like the depth of the shots in space is incredible in terms of from a VR point of view. And then it sort of like goes down the atmosphere and it does this really sort of tacky transition through just clouds into on the surface where, you end up from going from a very high orbit to very close to the ground in a very short period of time. And then the ground quality graphics aren't great. I remember how impressed I was when I played Fallen Order. When you take off and land there, how well they did that nice transition from being in the ground environment to being in space. And I just think this game really, that's one thing that flopped for me. Other than the fact that it also doesn't seem to have boundaries, like you can walk towards walls and you can effectively walk into the wall, and or you get a black screen telling you to walk back to where you would now be back in the environment again. So there's you can clip through everything in the game, which is a bit weird. They haven't set any boundaries of movement. Whereas with Tales from the Galaxy's Edge, so if you haven't heard of this on AP, this sort of went along with the launch of Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland.
Oh.
So it's a game set in that same, it's set in the same community that Galaxy's Edge is supposed to be about. And it's
like
less
set in the same cantina and all that stuff.
Cantina,
and,
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
With some of the same characters, and it's much less on rails insofar as you pretty much have 2 safe locations and a bunch of just explorable wilderness between them with enemies that just respawn over time. So it's pretty much like finding your way around non-linear exploration levels, and it gates itself by you need certain gear to get higher. So you can often you explored an area to get somewhere, to get something, you got to go back to the area you have explored, because now you can reach higher points to try and find the next part to explore.
Oh, I understand. That's classic Metroid Castlevania.
Yeah, that's it. So look, they're both pretty good. They're both pretty short, obviously. I think Vader Immortal is 3 episodes, about 45 minutes each. And Tales from Galaxy's Edge probably took me about 3.5 hours, but that involved me. I wanted to replay one of the sequences because the way they're doing DLC there is the bartender at the cantina effectively tells you stories that you then play through as a different character, like living through the story he's telling. And so while the main story won't be expanded, they'll be adding more stories that the bartender will tell you can then play through.
Okay.
And I liked the story he did, so I played through it a second time. So that extended my playthrough a bit.
Is it like Call of Juarez, where like his storytelling like affects like the amount of enemies and shit in the space, like as it happens, or
no?
Oh,
no,
man. That would have been way cooler.
Yeah, no, that was a funny thing. Like with when I played Immortals: Phoenix Rising, is that the narrator would often clip in with things, and suddenly the environment would change to match what the narrator has just said, or the secondary narrator comes in and changes something, and the environment or the monsters suddenly change. No, but it was quite good. I like the fact that, for example, because like in both games, they've tried to keep who the player character is very nebulous. Like they never refer to you by name or by gender or anything that sort of thing.
Shepherd,
whereas when you
Commander.
Whereas when you play through like the stories the bartender tells, you know, you have a realized character with an in-game voice. And, you know, when you look down, you can see that character's body as opposed to just a pair of disembodied hands like you get with.
So there was this amazing mercenary on the fringe of space called Dash Rendar. Okay.
No, been there, done that. Don't need that fan fiction.
And then I started playing The Climb, which is just a VR rock climbing game.
Ooh.
Which is just good.
It's
How
made
does
by
the feet
Crytek.
part work?
Well, you don't
There's no
use your
feedback.
feet at all. It's just by hand. But I'd say overall, like I'd only experienced vertigo once previously in VR, but I've had it a lot more times playing The Climb, especially when climbing down, like reaching down for a lower handhold to drop the body weight. Yeah, I got some sort of real vertigo there. But
Interesting.
that's been it. VR for me and nothing else. I finished building my kids' trampoline. I plumbed water into it now, so it has a sprinkler system that mists the air when they're on it in the summer, hot summer. Quite nice.
I've hurt myself way too much on a trampoline to trust those things ever again.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you know. And the
I
Boy
grew up with
Scouts, we
brothers.
called
They did that experimental
Yeah.
bounce tech.
Well, it's
Oh my
15 foot by 7 foot with a 10-foot net around it.
Okay.
Oh, okay. You went
All
net.
right.
See, my
Yeah.
dad just dug a hole in the ground and put the thing in it.
Yeah, no.
That would be-
My wife, only time she's ever broken a bone was as a child on a trampoline. So, she was keen to make sure trampoline safety was a
It
consideration.
was a rite of passage to hurt yourself on a trampoline.
we had
That's all I thought.
those nets that went around it as a kid, and me and my other cousin were into
Soft.
me and my cousin were into Pokemon at the time, and then my older brother and older cousins are like, "Hey, you want a Team Rocket?" I'm like, "What's that?" Boom! Like the little sparkle in the sky.
You gotta remember,
It launched us over the.
Henley, other than you and I, everyone else in this channel comes from countries where people wear padding to play sport. So
That's
generally
true.
softness
That's true.
is a consideration.
We also have gridiron, except we do it with our muscles and skulls.
And hockey without armor as well.
Yep. The best we get is a box and a tap on the arse.
Listen, y'all motherfuckers play rugby, which is all I need to know about the level of violence you have.
Oh, yeah. We had cricketers invented a sport because they were too cold during winter in a country where we don't really have winter, just so they can beat the shit out of each other. And it's our national sport.
I mean, how else are you supposed to train to fight the giant killer spiders?
I actually very recently, I say recently, but like a couple of months back, I took my Polish friends to see an exhibition match here in Warsaw for AFL, and I was pleasantly surprised at how violent it was. I was like, yeah, nice. Good job.
Well, Dave, let's just
Anyway,
jump
so-
over to you.
Hi.
Yeah. Hi.
Today was a very interesting day for me. I released a trailer and a prototype for my next game over at Kinky Fridays. I worked with dear sweet lass Drumurboy here to come up with some music for the trailer. It's doing quite well. And I'm really excited for the future of this game, to say the least. You can go check it out on my Twitter, which is at Kinky Fridays. I did post a link in Arthur's channel here, but I heavily censored it there, so you'll have to look for it. It's in the fan art channel. I don't know. You don't really have a channel that's appropriate for it. All I know is that you have one not safe
You
for work
know the
channel, and that's where I put
rules,
it.
Dave. I had
No,
a
I
not
don't,
safe for
actually.
work channel for people to post
Did you?
whatever the fuck they wanted, and I told them if there was nothing in it for a week, I would delete it. And they went crazy. They posted weird dinosaur porn art shit. They posted things that will scar my mind forever, but they ran out of steam and I deleted it. They will never have it again.
I also had
That's the
an
rules.
interesting conversation with my mother today, and she was like, "Can you explain to me what you do for a living? I've had people ask me, and I don't know what to tell them." And I'm like, "Okay, sit down, and let me tell you what exactly I do."
That sounds like the beginning
keep-
to a video game.
Keep in mind, every link that I give you from now and in this conversation until it ends will be pornographic. And she's like, "Oh, okay." So I had to explain to her, my dear sweet mother, what exactly the new game is. And
Did you explain to your mom what Fuda means?
yes, I did.
Jesus. Wow.
You know you're in trouble when you have to tell your parents to turn safe search off to find you in Google.
Ooh.
Yeah. But you know, she was my parents have always been incredibly understanding when it comes to stuff they don't comprehend. You know what I mean? Like they've been quite well about that, and I'm quite thankful for it because it means that I don't have that nebulous cloud hanging over my head when it comes to the type of career that I want to have. So that's always been good. But you know, I don't know. I've had a very busy day, and now I've got to make trailers for my next game, which I'll be releasing a prototype of as well this month. So, you know, lots of stuff to do. Definitely. But yeah. I don't know. I mean, I haven't had any time to play any games, but I really want to get back to playing troubleshooters. The game is quite fun, and it's definitely something that I would love to try and make myself one day, but we'll see how we go with that. But yeah, I don't know. Excited to play some games today.
Okay. Drumurboy, I understand you have some weather conditions.
I do. Has been like there was some flickering earlier in the day, but so far so good. So knock on wood for that. I got my new audio interface, so if I sound clearer, that's why.
What was the setup like?
Oh, easy. Just had to set up a driver, and then I had to run out and buy some cables because my mixer used RCA cables to get the mix out. This one uses balanced patch cables.
I'm so glad that I moved over to the
Go XLR.
yeah. Like
I would like to maybe try one, but I know it's not going to be what I need for a production environment. Like sending stuff in and out of stuff. This is why I bought this one. So
you could probably mix the two together, like in all honesty, but I don't know.
probably
Like,
could.
I mean, the one problem with the Go XLR is it has one XLR.
Yeah.
And no 1/4 inch.
Yeah, that's a
what?
no
No,
for
it
me.
what? It does have
It's-
1/4 inch. What are you
It's
talking
got
about?
1/8 inch. It's got 3/8 inch.
You mean 3.5?
Yeah, 3.5 millimeter. But it doesn't have any of the.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure
what you
the company
play-
that makes
put a
Go
guitar in.
XLR makes a bunch of other digital input stuff.
It's a what were they? They're like a
It's
guitar
Tribes,
pedal
yeah.
and yeah. But this one has like two headphone out, which is great for if I ever when this bullshit stops, then I can have people over and record their vocals and stuff again. Or I could like have someone having guitar and monitor them. A lot easier than having to do like a daisy chain of extenders and splitters and all that bullshit that I had to do. Also, I have extra outputs, so I can send audio from my soft synths and sample libraries out of the computer into my guitar effects and back into the computer, which I couldn't do before. It's also got a MIDI through, so I can control synthesizers from my software a little bit easier than before as well. But it's going to be fun. It's got 2 combo XLR 1/4 inch inputs in the front, and then another 4 outputs at the back, but 2 of them are for modern mixes. It's good. Haven't done too much crazy stuff with it yet, but I have been did the thing for Henley for the Pokemon Snap Loot game, and then I've been porting over the the SNES tunes that I made for Patreon, AP.
Mm-hmm.
I've been porting those over to a new plugin that's actually like bit accurate SNES emulation. So I'm porting those over, as well as a couple other SNES tunes that I wrote 2 years ago. And then I'm going to do a couple more and then release a little SNES chiptunes album. Maybe remake some of the music that I have on my Up From Down album, kind of demake them into like a FF6 style orchestrated version.
Cool.
It's going to be neat.
Yeah,
So that's
great.
fun. And then the new Genshin banner dropped yesterday or today. So
I might
just-
actually get into playing that game again. They released a new region or what?
yeah, it's like, it's not as big as the other regions, but it's also like a vertical region because it's a mountain. So
I don't know if that would be good or not. That seems like a lot of venti to me.
no, you don't
No?
have venti at all.
Okay.
But it's
there you
fun.
go.
I have no hopes of actually pulling the new character because I'm a free-to-play player and I'm bad at saving stuff. So
The only money I put into Genshin was for that extra daily drop thing, that $5 thing. And then I got like halfway through the month and then I stopped playing. So I don't know if I'll ever get the full value for that. So
Me and James are over here. Just
yeah, I buy the battle pass when I'm already done the battle pass. So I just like pay the $13 and get a whole month or 2 weeks worth of rewards on top of what I already gained for the free path. So yeah, just leveling up characters because the road to level 90 on characters that I use in my main party is a long road. So
it's interesting you say that. Last night I was rolling for one of the best characters in Fate Grand Order, and I accidentally got one of the worst characters of Fate Grand Order who I didn't already
beautiful.
have. But the thing is that this particular character has relationships to almost all of my other favorite characters, so it unlocked a bunch of voice lines in both directions for
Oh, I
both
see.
her and all of her rivals. But I leveled her up instantly just with stuff. I have a vast vault of experience cards, and then I have a whole inventory full of experience cards, and I didn't use any of those. I just used some pittances I had left over to get her to 80, and I felt great doing that. So I maxed her out.
Yeah, I'm
I'll
currently
never use her.
leveling three separate characters up to 90 so I can use them in my like boss rush abyss end game thing. Because now they're going into like the rooms that I'm at, they require 2 teams. So now I have my main team and I had to
Interesting.
bolster my B team, and now I have to build better broken characters that I got in roles and give them
Let me
good
tell you
weapons.
a
and
really interesting event they did in Fate Grand Order.
Bone Zone.
No. The Bone Zone is gone now. I got all the evil bones I needed. So what it is it's a 100-story tower, and whenever you deploy your team, the whole team gets drunk from the aroma and fumes of the alcohol coming from the tower. And so you can't use those characters again for 4 hours unless you stick them in the hot springs, in which case it only takes 2 hours to reset. So the whole event, the individual floors aren't very difficult, but it's meant to rotate through your entire roster, setting up new teams. And that event was incredible because I used a whole bunch of heroes who I'd never used before, and I was like, wow, their combat abilities look pretty good. These characters suck, but it looks good. That's the first time I've ever seen it.
Yeah. The thing about Genshin is like it's not just characters that you level to 90, it's also weapons, and you have 5 artifacts per character that you level up as well.
Okay.
So it's just like fucking grind city.
Yeah, sounds right.
Sounds like a gacha game.
Well, no, I don't know about a gacha game, but it definitely sounds like a Chinese game for sure. Absolutely. Anything out of Korea as well is going to punish you intensely.
Also had my best run of Void Bastards. I had a 3-hour run.
What is Void
Ooh.
Bastards?
It's
We
like
talked about this before.
it's a
like
roguelike first-person shooter kind of thing.
Okay.
yeah,
Cool.
It's
good
like
stuff.
you go from like abandoned ship to abandoned ship,
yeah.
collecting resources to craft new shit. I got through two full like mission crafts where you have to like make extra shit, and those are very difficult. And I did like a 3-hour 3-hour run. It was insane.
Interesting.
It's fun though.
3-hour tour.
You might actually like another game. It's like a Gunslinger or something like that. It's like a
Gungeon?
Let's see. No, not Gungeon. Oh, Gunfire Reborn. Yeah, you might like that one. Very similar. Oh, not really. There's not a lot of like crafting stuff, but it's like it's very good sort of skill-based dungeon first-person shooter roguelike thing.
Let's check it out.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
That's
you
me,
got
though.
anything else? All right. Drumurboy, we're out on you. Glimo.
Hey, I'm Glimo. Let's see what's happened. Continuing on with dry January. Pro tip:
Yeah.
don't stop drinking right before there's a terrorist insurrection in your country.
Yeah.
Really
Oof.
makes it harder to stay on the path. But
Hey man, if you can make it through that, you got it. Don't worry
right?
about it, man.
It's been an all Cthulhu week. I got my Miskatonic High Lovecraft PI crossover comic in. One of two. Issue 2 is up on Kickstarter now. So if you like Cthulhu and noir detective stuff and teenage angst, highly recommend checking it out. What else? I also got my Malleus Monstoriums in. It's Chaosium's Call of Cthulhu monster manual.
Half of these words you're saying are English, yes? Like
No, none of them are.
They're Eldritch.
You know,
Cthulhu Photography, you know?
Eldritch and Latin, yeah.
And Malleus is Latin for hammer.
Hammer the monsters. Yeah, that's other than that, working a bunch. My new one of my new clients that I'm supporting, they have a team in Europe, and then most of my team that I'm working at is on the west coast of the US, and I'm smack in the middle. So I get up first thing in the morning, I answer all the emails that came in overnight from the European team when they came in the morning. I get on a couple calls with them, and then I get to have like 3 hours to myself to like actually get shit done, and then spend the rest of the afternoon on conference calls with the West Coast team. So it's yeah, that's it. That's all I'm up to.
Time zone hell.
And and Monday I will be doing my Solaris Nights episode. So subscribe to Arthur's Patreon and watch that when it drops.
If you don't subscribe to my Patreon, you'll be able to watch it in 3 or 4 weeks when it comes out publicly. But if you want to watch it
with the rest of the losers.
Jesus. Wow, you guys are really helping me sell this, guys. Wow. Well,
if you want to be
it's a hard sell, AP.
if you want to be a
Yeah,
pleb
that's
and a
right, that's right.
commoner, of course, don't subscribe on Patreon.
That's right.
But if you wish to live the elite aristocratic life of
It's the
the
old hard sell.
nobility,
Only an idiot wouldn't subscribe to this channel. You're not an idiot, are you?
would you like consent from the king to fornicate? Well, you can do that by subscribing to Arthur Perkins'
I don't know what's
Patreon
happening
account.
right now. Glimo
You get
had
exactly one Bone Zone card.
The other thing to say is because if I was to solve this problem for you, would you subscribe today?
wow.
That's the used car sales one.
Have you seen?
Are you bored? Are you deranged of any sort of entertainment possible? Well, for the measly sum of $5 dues, I assume, you can subscribe to Arthur Perkins'
$1.
Patreon account.
That's 2 cups of coffee a week.
$1.
So for $5, you get 5 months of premium content from Arthur Perkins.
5
think
months?
about that.
What is even happening?
That's not even a cup of coffee, like James said. All of that content could be yours for $1.
Glimo, have you seen Lovecraft Country on HBO?
I've not finished it, but I am watching it. Yes.
I am working my way through the first episode. It's so incredibly dense. It's like watching a Korean drama. I'm like, wow, the plot has changed like 4 times, and it's only been 20 minutes.
Yeah.
All right. So where does it fit on the scale of American Gods?
I haven't seen
Gods was a
American
little
Gods, but it
fucking
literally
wonky
starts out
thing.
with the space invasion, and Cthulhu gets killed by who I'm assuming is Jackie Robinson, and then
I
the
don't know
show
who that is.
really starts
Yep.
with a
So,
soldier
like-
traveling across the country and people being super racist to him because he's black.
So like on the American God scale, it's probably like between season 1 and season 2. Season 1 of American Gods was like introducing you, and season 2 was like, now shit's happening.
Yes, but I'm
Season
literally
one of
only
American
30 or
God
40
was
minutes
like-
into the episode. I haven't even finished one, and I'm like, where is this going?
Season 1 of American Gods was like, okay, I know that there's a cement block tied around your feet and the water is slowly rising above your nostrils right now, but try and stick with it. And season 2 was like, well, you're fully submerged now. I hope you've got a long breath.
That's
American
actually
Gods-
that's kind of how the American Gods book went too. Yeah.
American Gods has the most incredible nut kick in all of cinema.
You
I
mean-
watched like the first 4 episodes of American Gods, but I really liked the book, and I just
So it's not as good as the book then?
I found it not as good as the book.
Interesting. Okay.
I've never read the
And
book.
and the
Let me ask you this,
I
Glimo.
understand when you move something from one media to another, you need to make changes. Like that's just the way it is. But like some of the like weird changes that like didn't make any sense for like transferring from book to film, that were just there for, I don't know.
Where
I
do you
wasn't a
sit
fan.
with where do you sit with Harry Potter going from book to film? Which one do you like
That
more?
was pretty
It-
good though.
I'm not.
It was a good transition. The problem is that a critical, like any sort of reasonable analysis of Harry Potter, the whole plot explodes instantly.
Haven't read the books, haven't seen the movies.
All right, let me explain the plot to you, Glimo. It's very easy.
I understand the
No,
plot.
no,
I
no,
just, you
no,
know.
no, no, no. I'll explain the plot. The first book explains the plot of all 7 movies incredibly easily.
Hold
All
up,
right?
hold up. You should save this for your Patreons, Arthur. You got to give him
No.
that $1 worth of value.
There's a guy named Dumbledore. He runs a wizard school.
I've already
Alright.
bought a coffee. I'm out.
At this wizard school, there is a house called Slytherin. They're generally treated as the villains throughout all of the books. At the climax of the first book, a troll attacks in the dungeon, and Dumbledore says, everyone go to your house rooms. You'll be safe from the troll there. All right, so the troll's in the dungeons. But we already know that the Slytherin house, their entrance to their house is in the dungeons. So he's basically sending all of the Slytherin students to die, which is basically how he treats them through all 7 books. He's just like, all right, well, fuck Slytherin at every single opportunity.
Until
Even when
Jean-Luc
he's dead,
Picard
he's still fucking Slytherin over.
Until Jean-Luc Picard shows up and cuts him in half with a lightsaber.
What? That's...
You heard me.
None of that is true. All you need to know about the whole series is that their wizard monetary system is a 1 to 7 to 35 ratio.
No, I really don't need to know these things. Like, I need to know none of this.
No, I got one more for you.
Is American God season 3 out yet? I keep on
Until
seeing
the
ads for
invention
it.
of wizard
No,
toilets.
it's coming at the end of the month, I think.
Here we go, Glimo.
At least that's what all the ads on YouTube keep telling me.
Until the invention of wizard toilets, wizards just peed and pooed themselves and then used magic to apparate the waste away.
I can't wait to put that.
That's canon.
That's 3.5 and on. Everyone take prestidigitation cantrip and
Isn't the new Harry Potter like video game supposed to be in that era? So you're just gonna be like, that's gonna be a skill you have to get in that MMO.
Apparate
The
poop.
pupus removus.
You know, I have an upcoming 5e game, and I'm specifically removing prestidigitation from the spell list. Not for that reason, but because it allows you to change the flavor of
Too
food.
many of my players kept using the prestidigitation hand to remove the feces from their pants. It was unbelievable.
So
what about-
anyway,
AP, what about summon food and water?
summoning food and water creates bland, flavorless food and water.
I thought it created like sweet buns or something.
No,
Here's what you
it
do.
creates bland, flavorless food that is not enjoyable.
Get rid of Goodberry. All problems solved.
No, listen, they have to feed thousands of people. Goodberry is not going to do that for them. Goodberry will let them feed their neighbors. They need to go hunt giant super beasts and bring them back.
I hope I'm in this game, by the way.
How
You're
else
not.
are you going to get the Trask loin?
What? Come on now.
You're not. You literally are like, I will fake being able to taste things, and I'm like, I'm sorry, Henley. You might be able to provide a unique experience on texture, but half the game is like, do you like things sweet, savory, spicy, plain?
Someone uses
It's
summon
called
food and water,
acting,
and Honey's like, this is
motherfucker.
delicious.
Maybe you can guess, Dave.
You know what? I don't want your fucking.
What?
crumbs,
No.
bitch.
Wait. It's a food cooking competition. What if I let you guess as one of the judges?
Look! I told you. I don't want your crumbs, motherfucker.
This isn't crumbs.
I'm good.
I'm giving you the opportunity to go full Gordon Ramsay.
I could have been full Gordon Ramsay 24/7 for you. You'll never
Well,
know.
there's no way I'm playing D&D 24/7 with you, Dave, or with anybody for that matter. I would play D&D 24/7 with myself.
Can I tell you one more thing about my life, by the way, Arthur?
Please do. We're doing extended
for-
intros today.
For Christmas, I got my wife a iTunes voucher so she could buy some audiobooks.
Yeah.
And so she's been listening to The Handmaid's Tale, and now I'm in trouble all the time. She's angry at me all the time for stuff I didn't do.
It's not about stuff you didn't do. It's about stuff you haven't done yet that you're not going to do in the future.
Exactly.
Trust me, man. That's like half a life.
I got in trouble the other day because I cheated on my wife in her dream.
Yes.
I
No,
was
that's the
in trouble
worst.
for something
I
I
don't
did in a
understand
dream
why-
last night.
Listen, I haven't had that happen to me in like 7, 8, 9 years, but I still remember the pain and terror of having a woman tell me that, and I'm like, how do I defend myself from that? It didn't happen. It happened in a dream. And they're like, the excuse is
really
always
loved
something like, if I dreamed it, you must be capable of it. I'm like, woman, no, I'm literally never, no.
I dream that I
Arthur,
can
if you
fly
truly
and I
loved
can't.
me, Arthur, if you truly loved me, my brain would know it. Okay, you know what I mean?
It's every abusive relationship I've ever been in being summoned back by one phrase.
This is why I'm a hermit and single.
I'm dying. Oh my
Unbelievable.
god.
Arthur, I'm so salty, and that's a flavor, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, salty is a flavor, Dave. I'm glad. What is this coin? Is it a piece of corn on a banana?
Now let me block the light. It's a Miskatonic. It's a Lovecraft PI challenge coin.
Oh, okay. So it's not a piece of corn.
No, it's a Cthulhu.
Are we ready to move
Former
ahead
Cthulhu.
now that Grimdarkjames opened Pandora's box? Well, some of
Don't
you.
you hate when you stop at a roadside like veggie stand and you get a Cthulhu instead of a corn?
No, I don't like that. Some of you may know that a friend of this show is Pawn of the Mad. Others of you may not know that Pawn of the Mad is now an expectant father.
Gonna be
Since
Under
part
the
of
dad.
Yep.
Oh, there you go. Congratulations.
That was
Or just Mad Dad. I'd be okay with that. That's a good one.
Goes from mad lad to mad dad.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
I don't know why I even try setting these things up sometimes. Like, people just snipe me on it in the middle. In the middle. All right.
Like, I've had this one ready for a while. I had a feeling that they were going to start like trying for kids once they were married. I worked that one out like 6 months ago and wrote it down. So
By the way,
Listen, you
that
can have
is-
it worked out, but here I am leading up to the. Listen, James, comedy is sometimes about structure, okay? You can't just
No.
blurt out the punchline.
Don't worry, AP. I dreamed you made that pun instead.
See? Structure. You got to have the setup before you get the punchline.
One day you'll learn, AP, that there's some of the audience enjoy my jokes at your expense more than your jokes.
Yes, I know, and it's painful. And it's not just you, James. It's everybody. It's everybody's jokes at my expense.
You've got 100% approval rating on your videos right now. You don't have any time to stand on.
I do have 100% approval rating, and I'm very proud of that. But I don't have 100% approval rating overall. I only have 99.8% overall.
Well, doesn't that suck?
Well, listen, I don't make dramatic internet videos about politics, unfortunately. I keep
You can't control those 0.2% people's dreams, AP.
You know, my most disliked video is when I played McCree from Overwatch, and I voiced McCree the whole time. And it... people were just like, shut the fuck up! I was like, oh, you must not be from my channel, huh? Okay. So you really don't like me playing McCree.
AP, I was never more disappointed in life than when I discovered I had less than a 5-star Uber rider rating.
Wow.
And I couldn't work out what I'd done to have lost the star.
4.9 stars, huh?
Yeah, it's like 4.97 or something. That's it. But
that makes me feel good.
That man did not drink my drug water. 4 stars.
Okay. It's April.
What an intro sequence.
It's the afternoon of April the 12th, 2021. All across all the social medias, it turns out that sea shanties are now a big thing. And every Megacorp is trying to copyright as many good sea shanties that are referential towards their corporate goods as possible. And I don't want to focus immediately on Bishop. I'm going to let you guys do it, however, but I want to be clear that Bishop, your version of sea shanties are all like American sea shanties, talking about guns and flags, patriotism, the color white, because you live in Medtech town.
Oh, now I do. Yes, that's right.
Yes. You know, speaking of sea shanties, I looked up Australian sea shanties, and you know what? They're pretty good. I got Canadian sea shanties too. Honestly, I don't understand why every country but America has good sea shanties. What did we not do to make good sea shanties?
You got in the piracy game late. That's your problem.
We made the piracy game. Listen, y'all were out there with privateers. We invented piracy. We turned the Caribbean into a fuck nest.
I mean,
that's all there is to it.
You guys have cowboy songs.
Oh, those are not sea shanties at all.
Your sea
not, but that's what you got.
is the fucking country music. There you go. That's
what you please,
yeah.
No. All right, whatever you guys need to do. I know you had a bunch of minor things.
It's the cowboy shit, and let's all go to the lobby. That's what you got.
Let's go shit in the lobby.
Let's all go to the lobby.
Let's all go to the lobby, and what do you do with a drunken sailor? Yeah, that's about the same.
Yeah.
That tracks.
It's almost the same tune.
Did you already mark up intros as finished, Arthur?
I did a long time ago. I got time though. You do whatever you guys need.
Sorry, waiting for you.
No, we're waiting for you. I told you. You guys tell me what you're doing and who you want to focus on. You guys all have a lot of minor things that you wanted to do, solutions. You know what, Glimo? I'm just going with you because I know you have a set plan tonight.
Okay.
Boom.
So Pascal has realized that he might not want to appear as a toucan in cyberspace all the time, and that he probably should have someone that knows a little bit more about cyberdecks than him look at this thing and figure out.
Oh my God, Pascal's a VTuber now.
How to
consider the following: everybody is a VTuber in 2020.
Can I make a suggestion? Work out what you want to be before you go and ask someone to change it. Anyone who's worked in marketing knows, like, oh, I don't like this. You make something different. Okay, what? I don't know.
Can you make it look like a Facebook logo, but without it being a Facebook logo? Can you do that? My personal favorite is like, I think a better analogy would be Glimo walking into a fucking tattoo shop and being like, I want a tattoo, but I don't know what I want.
Yep.
waking up 7 years later being like, man, that was a terrible decision.
Waking
Okay,
up
so
with that
you want to go
butterfly
speak to somebody
tramp
about
stamp every
changing
day.
your icon then?
Yes, and
Okay.
and also like getting the thing checked out, because suddenly it dawns on him, I've been using this thing and I don't really know what I'm doing with this thing, so I better have it checked out.
Okay, who you going to? Friendly local corporate guy, maybe?
I think I'm going to start with
repair
friendly
shop?
local. I'm going to start with Dante, one of Dante's guys.
Okay, so you're taking it into Dante's Netrunners.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so you arrive in the morning. You get in. Well, okay, so you were already here. You head into the room with the 3 Netrunners. You like fill out the sign out sheet for their time card, and one of them will have like an open spot for 15 minutes in later the day.
Okay.
You wait for that time spot to show up. They like pull off their interface helmet, and they're sitting there in a Netrunner suit, and they're the woman is just like, you want me to do basic technical support? You are you a boomer?
I
Pretty
take
much.
offense to someone using the word boomer in 2020.
It means the exact same it does now. It's 2021 in both games at the same time, in real life and in the game.
I don't think the people from the 1980s future would use the word boomer.
But it's
If
not
anything,
they wouldn't use the word gonk either, or choom.
Okay, there's a great tweet from an anime from the 1980s. I forget what it was called, but they literally have a word for called boomers, which refers
Yes,
to
called 80
robots that
Police and
block-
Bubblegum Crisis.
That's the one.
Yes.
Yeah.
You realize boomer pre-references that. Boomer refers to people who are born in a very specific period of time, the baby boomer era.
Yes, I understand that, but they
Okay.
were only coined that after the.
No, it was
Early
going
2000s.
years before 80 Police was ever thought about.
They were called baby boomers back then, not boomers.
Because dropping the baby took a whole 4 generations.
Indeed, it did.
Okay.
Indeed, it did.
So in the original
dropping
anime,
the
it was
baby.
actually Voomer in the Japanese, converted to Boomer.
Yes.
Really? I did not know
Yeah,
that. part.
it was
That's pretty good.
Voodoo Organic Metal Extension Resource.
Yep.
Dropping the
stood
baby
for.
made Gen X.
I have 80 Police on the shelf behind me.
Yep.
It was a weird spinoff. But Bubblegum Crisis was way weirder, so I should say it was the normal spinoff.
Yeah.
Pascal, this woman does agree to sit down and help you, but she basically wants it to be known that, like, you could have grabbed a teenager off of the street to show you how to do most of this stuff. She's complaining the whole time until she, like, gets into the back of your deck and pops the panel off and whistles and goes, oh, shit.
What's that?
Well, looks like you've got some plugins here. A lot of this stuff's illegal. Stealth program, evasion program. Do you know what this? She's like holding the whole thing up. Do you know what this is? Where did you get this?
That costs extra.
Rolls her eyes and he's like, look, you came here for my help, okay? If I don't know what I need to know, I can only help you so much. And let's be clear, like the panel that she's getting to is like one of those plastic clip panels for like batteries and such. You know what I'm talking about? It's very 80s. She slams the thing back in and it makes a satisfying click noise and she says, all right, well, without that information, I don't feel safe checking out the deck. Overall, it looks fine. She says, here you go. She hands you your electrode plugs to be the main person on the deck. And then she uses electrode plugs as well to go on her temples.
Okay.
All right. Push that green button right there.
Beep.
Okay. So the deck starts up in safe mode. And the two of you are basically standing in an endless white matrix space. Next to you is a toucan. It's just like floating in space. doing idle animations. She says,
Is it all like super low resolution because it's in safe mode?
no, it's actually in higher resolution than normal.
It's in 16 colors. That's the problem.
And your entire desktop space is every single icon you've ever used, and it's just like just littered everywhere, doubled up.
She says, so that's your icon, huh? And you want to change it to what exactly?
Let's just say I found this deck when the owner wasn't using it anymore, and so I'm looking to
She's nodding and she's
personalize
going,
it a little bit more.
electrodes were a good choice. Yeah. Well, it's not like you could use the remote anyway.
Exactly.
Please say white tiger, Glimo. Please say white tiger.
You know, absolutely.
So
White tiger.
she wipes the toucan. She just like whoosh, and then begins bringing up the menu you need in order to construct a new icon. And she's walking you through it. Basically, like most people either use a pre-constructed icon. When you first sign in, the IG algorithm will make one that looks exactly like you, and then you can change it to look, like basically anything you can imagine within a, human-sized square shape. You can make larger ones, but it pisses off people on the internet, and they might just like boot you for no reason. Yeah, but she indicates that for like premium clients, like perhaps yourself, they get an artist to like prefabricate for it, and that's not something she does. She's a hacker, not a model maker.
Understood.
But if you need a temporary icon that's not a toucan, you can create one here using the power of your imagination. And when she says that, like the tutorial begins and it says, with the power of imagination, you can do anything you want. And like the tutorial is walking you through.
It's the Creative Cloud.
Yeah.
Website
Clippy.
video. Yep. Okay.
Clippy comes
Got
up.
it.
Oh, yeah, it is Clippy, 100%. So, hey there, buddy. Looks like you're having trouble deciding on your first icon. Would you like to be a fantasy creature, a techno warrior, or 2 sentient bonbon candies? Anything is possible.
I'm getting severe flashbacks to my time working at Second Life now. Like,
Yes, good. This is avatar selection.
you can be anything you want, including the things no one wants to see you be.
Yes, precisely.
Would you like to be a default wood block?
Would you like to secretly become one of the largest furry communities in the world? Second Life.
Secretly, there's no secret there. I had to take meetings in Second Life with people who were in the office with me. You know how fucking dumb that is?
Wow. That's wow.
They gave me an allowance to buy avatar gear to customize my avatar. Look,
I didn't know you worked at
customize
Linden Labs.
shit.
I didn't know you worked at
man.
Linden.
I sold my company to Linden Labs.
Damn.
Golden handcuffs, man. That's why I was there.
Little 14-year-old Drumurboy was in Second Life trying to learn how to 3D model.
Well, so is Glimo right now. So, Pascal, what are you looking to make?
Pascal honestly is gonna just do a very he'll have a construct that looks like him, and if he can have just a smiley face for when he goes and meets with people that he might not want connected with him.
You have to pick one.
I can only have one?
Yeah, it's attached to the deck.
All right, then I will just do the smiley face.
All right, so you are a giant floating smiley face.
Giant,
Now,
giant
give me a
smiley
level
face
of
emoji.
detail and realism here. Are we
None.
talking like an emote? Would you just say no?
None, I said.
It literally
It is
just looks like a floating emote, and it doesn't move at all.
Right.
Okay, so it's not like a weirdly creepy half-moon smiley face floating ominously with like way too flesh-like eyes and a weird mouth. And all right, just making sure we're not.
That was
gonna
not what I was going for.
Yeah,
but,
I was going for
but now I'm
Guillermo del
intrigued.
Toro. Yeah, all right. So you're literally just a floating emote now, and Your Netrunner friend is just looking at you like, okay, this was totally worth my time. And then she unplugs herself out of the system and goes back to work.
Okay. I thank her for her time, and
She's already got her headset back on,
yeah.
diving back in the net on a real cyber deck with her actual interface plugs, like a professional.
Okay.
Not in an ice bath.
Ice bath.
I'm happy to trade off to someone else if other people want to do shit.
Did anyone
long
else
is it-
have any downtime stuff they want to do? Because
How
you just
long has it
completed a
been?
big job for Dante, and he doesn't have any work for you for a while.
How long has it been since we organized the scheme to get my enemies to kill each other?
Hours.
They
Okay,
must be dead by now.
so not. That's what I'm hoping. But,
No, a watched
No.
pod is not going to boil in this particular mission.
okay, cool. So
They would have to travel across the world to kill each other.
I'll
I just
I'll think of
hired you
something
for
else.
this commission. How come it's not done yet?
Yeah. I'll think of something else then in the meantime.
Oh my
I was
god,
waiting-
this is so painful to lose. This is one of the most painful episodes I've ever had.
Okay, well, I've got other things too, but I didn't want to like steal this to be just the Pascal show tonight
That's
I've
gonna
got
be
two
the-
other things
it's
that
gonna
I
be
do
the
wanna do
Bishop show pretty soon.
at some point.
I mean, I'm waiting to hear back from Dante's Netrunner about availability to help me track down the two
Correct.
remaining
You're
members
looking
of,
for
intel.
intel.
Right?
Yep. It's,
Otherwise,
it's only
I'm
been a
waiting
couple of
for-
hours,
Yeah, that's fine. Otherwise, I'm waiting for the archery duel.
which is in
So-
2 days. Yep.
That's right. So I'm in a holding pattern until one of those two things happens.
Wolfgang.
Question number one: what is Gus's reaction to my new looks?
Well, first off, you told Gus you were leaving, right? For multiple days on end without coming home.
Of course, yeah.
Okay. As you,
I mean, this is like there was a conversation with him about the exact like nature of what would happen. Not so much the stuff that I'd be doing exactly, but like the reality of what this job entailed.
with Gus, it's a serious and grim conversation, right? There's a lot of, well, I didn't marry you for your looks, but this isn't the first time you've changed how you look, and I'm not just talking about how you part your hair, and I don't like it when you disappear for days on mysterious jobs, and you know, like Arasaka came by and was just checking up on me, and where were you? And but then it's still, you know, like, well, I love you. I just, you know, want to make sure that we're all on the same page. You know what doesn't happen? He doesn't say that he had a dream where you betrayed him. That doesn't happen.
So I like to think of this character a little bit like Walter White before he goes Kingpin. And that I mean, like, he has the best intentions. You know what I mean? While, like, his choices might not be the best, but his intentions are certainly pure. So, you know, Wolfgang just sort of, like, nods along and takes it on, but he won't make any active methods to change. His goal is twofold: to first remove Gus from captivity, and second, to get enough money to make sure that he's never found again, right? And that sort of stuff is going to be difficult to do without putting his skills to the test, or, you know, his body on the line, or you know, doing the sort of shit that most people wouldn't be able to do. So he doesn't tell him that, but, you know, he you know, he knows now that, you know, maybe he shouldn't be so open with him about this stuff for his own good.
At the end of this conversation, as it's winding down and you're both eating a bowl of gelato next to a bottle of dry white wine, he says, someone stopped by for you earlier today. He left his business card.
Okay, I'll
He
take a look
slides
at
the
it.
business card over the table. It reads, it's a pretty long title indicating the building that they work in, the subsection. It's of course Arasaka. But in the end, it reads Security Manager James Martin. The backside of it reads, "Call me."
Do I know a James Martin?
You do not know a James Martin. I mean, unless you know of the James Martin. You don't know.
I'm going to start.
James
I'm
Martin?
going to start adding "call me" to the back of my business cards now. That's great. I never thought of that.
If only it was that easy.
I'm trying to think if we talked to James Martin since. No, it was only Mash was still here the 2 times I've.
James Martin called you when you were at Wolfgang's house
He
to
did
ask why you were here.
Yes, I did.
Since
tell
then-
Wolfgang that.
Since then, you've lied to him and blown him off.
It's
I'll
true.
call him.
Okay. Right when you think it's about to go to voicemail, you hear a kind of tired voice pick up the phone and say, "This is Martin."
You left me a business card. Let's make this quick. What do you want?
Is this Wolfgang Roth?
To speak what you need.
I heard a lot about you from your husband. We had a delightful conversation. A wonderful man. My intelligence network indicates you have some relationship with Pascal Jaden, yes?
You haven't told me what you want.
I want to clarify what your relationship with him is.
You have an intelligence network. They should do work for you.
I think we both know intelligence networks aren't as intelligent as we wish they were.
I don't know what you hope to find here, but you won't find it by speaking in riddles, so I'll give you another chance. Tell me what you want. This is the last time I'll ask.
All right, you hear the sound of somebody shifting position and taking a deep breath, and then he says, Pascal Jaden is an associate of mine who has been failing to check in on a regular basis, and I just wanted to make sure that he's okay.
And you're calling me for what? As a messenger? You want me to find this man and bring him this information for you?
Well, I think that you have a very good relationship with Mr. Jaden, Mr. Pascal Jaden, and that you'll make sure that he gets back to me.
I don't think I will.
There's like a really long time where it's not clear whether he's hung up yet, and then he says, I think you will. It would be in all of our best interests. And then he does the flip phone click shut.
Okay. I take out I do a what is it called? The line that can't be tracked, untraceable line
Yeah.
thing. And I call first Bishop.
All right, well, answer. Bishop here, go ahead.
Has Pascal given you any grief with his past before?
I've helped him out a couple of times with his friends, but not any grief.
His associates are making my life hell now. And what I mean by that is he apparently has an Arasaka contact that is inviting himself into my home.
Have you spoken with Pascal yet?
No.
I mean, I'd suggest call him if there's something that needs to be dealt with. I'm happy to help him. You know, I've already helped him with his brother's situation and his ex-girlfriend situation. So
Yes, but
I'm
this
happy
is
to help you.
Arasaka, and this is
Yeah.
this is my home. I need to know whether or not this is something that he does regularly, or if this is new.
I mean, are you talking
behavior.
about he's on the wrong side of the corporation, or he's on the wrong side of somebody that works for Arasaka?
I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
All I know is that I've been threatened, and it's not something that I wish to be. Well, I don't want to be threatened.
Let's find out. I'm happy to stay on the line. I mean, I don't know if a bit of conference calling in Cyberpunk 2020.
Yes, absolutely. You
Okay.
have to do like *3 to bring on somebody on a new line. Yep, 80s kids know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All
All right, so I'm happy to stay on the line if you want to call him now.
Great, that'd be fantastic. I'll call Glimo. Not Glimo, Pascal. Sorry, get your shit mixed up.
Call them both. It's probably easier.
Hey, Wolfgang. What can I do for you?
Hey, it's Marcus. I'm on the line as well.
Bishop?
So, I met a friend of yours today. A friend that seems appropriate for him to invite himself into my home and make himself known to my better half. What
Who
have you
the
done to
hell is that?
Arasaka, and why is there a gentleman calling after you at my house?
I assume you mean Mr. Martin? He's the only one I know at Arasaka.
So what have you done to this character then?
Well, I told you when we were on the mission to get Shamrock Eyes that right before we were about to hand it over, Arasaka called and said they wanted to buy it off of us. You all said that you didn't want to do it, so I told Martin that I didn't have it, and that and I just gave him the original information that we had about the drop.
Okay, but that doesn't explain why he's making house calls to me and my family.
Well, if he figured out that we double crossed him, that we actually did have it, I'm sure he's pissed.
How is it not selling to Arasaka as a double cross? You are not telling me something here.
I'm telling you everything.
I mean,
That's-
other than the fact that we told him we didn't have it when we did. But I would think that if he's pissed off, all he's going to do is going to try and throw something against us. Why is he trying to reach out to you? Is it worthwhile making contact, seeing what he wants to say?
What he wants is Mr. Pascal here to get in touch with him for whatever reason. Touch base, as he called it. Call in, check in.
I'm happy to check in, but I haven't heard from him since the day he called us when we were outside Atlanta.
Why does he feel the need that you have to check in with him? Is there another part of your relationship that we don't know of?
We've helped each other out a couple of times.
So, and that
He
gives him an obligation to know your whereabouts at all times? I'm not sure about that.
I told you the day I came to your house that an agent of Arasaka knew that I was there. That was this guy. He's in Arasaka security. I'm sure he keeps tabs on all of the people that work his network.
But why do you need to check in with him, though?
It's news to me. I haven't talked to him or heard from him since Atlanta.
You don't mind reaching out to him now under the circumstances, though?
I'm happy to call him.
All right.
I don't like that he's threatened my family, by the way, and that makes it personal for me. Do you have any reason to work with this man in the future?
He's a business associate. He's given me intelligence before, but I don't have any personal loyalty to him. If you feel that you need to remove him from the board, I'm not going to stand in the way.
Well, I don't feel that, but the thing that's missing from me is how much he knows about my personal circumstance and what he's going to use that for? That's my problem.
He runs security. He's a middle manager in security at Arasaka. So if he's been to your house, you can imagine that he knows everything that Arasaka knows about your life.
Has he fingered people before that you know of?
Do I know this?
Don't be so crass, AP.
It's too easy though. The fruit was low hanging. I didn't even say anything, James. I didn't even say anything.
But your
That's the
face
correct
betrayed you.
terminology, though, right? That is the actual terminology.
Correct.
It is. Yeah, it's just
Correct.
AP's
If you're
one
in
isn't
a
better.
Sherlock Holmesian detective novel, that would be the correct terminology. All right, Pascal, what exactly do you want to know? Whether he's attempted to go after your associates before?
Well, I know he hasn't gone after my associates before, but do I know that he goes after people on the regular if he gets pissed at
Your
them?
original indication with him is
yeah.
that he's like he was originally an important security guard, but still just a security guard. Your relationship with him has changed insofar as he's rising up the company ranks now. It sounds like he's rising pretty quickly. Might be what happens when you give a little bit of power to a bully.
So here's what I can tell you about this guy. He was a security guard that I would pay off to get information on when Arasaka was moving a big shipment of cyberware so that I could make sure some of it fell off a truck. When we did the first job for Dante and Russell Zeta Tech, I traded some information from him in exchange for making sure that 3 scientists from Arasaka who went over to Zeta died during the event. He turned that into a promotion and sounds like he might be moving up the ranks.
I feel like we need to make this personal for him. If he's doing
Pascal,
it to me, it's
You
only
record
fair.
conversations, don't you?
Yes.
Did you record those conversations with him back then at that time?
Yes.
So if we needed to, we could expose his past indiscretions that allowed him to rise up within the company.
Well, I
But
think
that's like talking
I think he was fairly upfront with the company, and that's how he rose up. Was that they gave him the information to give to me on the with the understanding that I would do their wet work for them.
It also fits within the MO of Arasaka to do that sort of shit. What I think we should do for this gentleman is try and find out where he lives and who he's connected to and do the same that he did to me to him. Let him know that while he can access my partner, we can access his. Put the squeeze on him the old-fashioned way.
I've got no problem with that. I don't need, this is supposed to be a two-way street. The people I deal with, they're not supposed to be trying to put the screws to me. So I'm quite happy to.
Yeah, I still think we need to go the thing of seeing what he wants before we start talking about mutually assured destruction.
Let me ask you this. Do you walk into an ambush without proper planning?
We're talking about a phone call here, Wolfgang.
He walked into my house
I know
and
what
he
I'm saying.
sat down and went through my belongings.
What I'm saying is that we need to find out first what he's, is this part of a larger threat, or is he just a person who's got no social sense whatsoever?
He's like, yeah, he had lunch with my husband and was a lovely conversationalist and even brought a bottle of Chianti and a block of mild cheddar cheese. Real cheese. You know how hard that is to get in this day and age? It's not soy-based. Can you believe the gall of the man to bring these things to my house?
Who would eat real cheese?
To
It's all
my
moldy
house.
and
And I say,
This is a good opportunity, actually. Do I have any sort of like security measures in the home that would record people coming and going? I feel like I'm the type of person that would have something like that.
I have the first question for you. Do you have such security measures purchased in your inventory? If the
Well,
answer
I
is
do have security measures, as in the fact that there are doors and windows and.
if you haven't purchased
brushes
security
and stuff like
systems for them, then the answer is no. Now is a great time to consider going out and upgrading your security system, especially when you have a solo who specializes in that, and a James who does it for a living.
I'm
Are
the
there
subject
even
of cheese.
options
I
in the
was
book
in a
about this
gift
stuff?
basket yesterday by a supplier, which included some cheese that should have been refrigerated and sat in the gift basket in transit for about 3 weeks.
No.
It is now blue cheese.
Yeah, it's right. The whole thing stank when it arrived at my office.
Okay. All right. Well, if I don't have anything like that, then there's no way I could have known what exactly he was looking for inside of this house and what the conversation was. So I will seek to upgrade that stuff. But for the time being, I don't feel very good about this man. And
I'm happy to call him, and if you guys want to be on the line for that, that's we can do that too. Make it a party line, or I can just call him myself. But I think probably I agree with Big. Talk to him and find out what the hell he wants first.
I don't feel the need to be on the call. I think that this is between you and him. But if you feel free, obviously, to record it, and if we need to hear something about it later on, you can always share it. I don't want to get it. I don't want him feeling confronted because he's now talking to an audience.
I'll call him and find out what the hell's going on, and if he doesn't give us the warm fuzzies, well, then we can take it to him.
all right.
Okay.
I hang up with those guys and I call James Martin.
Okay. The call answer is almost immediate, and he says, Pascal,
I heard you were looking for me.
I knew you'd call.
I have to tell you, Mr. Martin, you ruffled some feathers. Why didn't you just pick up the phone and call me?
Last time I called you, you explicitly lied to my face. That's why I made sure to get some insurance.
Now, Mr. Martin.
This is a two-way street, Pascal. I know that you think you're a big time now, but you're a street fixer. You work for me. Intel out of South America, specifically out of Atlantis, says that you pulled a job to screw the Dominicans. Or the Barbadians. You took something.
I think you're misinformed, Mr. Martin.
You think Arasaka security is that bad?
I don't work for you, and I don't go out of my way to screw you. But if you make my life difficult, then I will start going out of my way to screw you.
I'm in charge, Pascal. Your entire career is built off of my help. I made you. I made you. And now you're betraying me. You think a fixer can work in this industry in black cyberware? You think someone with a bad reputation can do that?
Your career is way more built off of me than mine is off of you. You just made sure that I had some information a couple of times, whereas your rise to the executive rank was fully based on what me and my team did.
Are you threatening me, Master Jedi? Is not a thing he says.
Mr. Martin, all I'm saying is I don't want us to have an adversarial relationship. But
I don't want to either. That's why I've made sure to get insurance. Next time I call you,
And
make sure to
of,
answer the phone and don't lie to me.
And what sort of insurance do you think you have?
It's the sort of thing polite gentlemen don't speak about over the phone. But you called me as soon as I put out some feelers, didn't you?
Mr. Martin, I think our business here is done.
He hangs up the phone first.
All right, we're firebombing his house, boys. Let's do it.
So I call Bishop and Wolfgang back and replay the conversation for them.
Oh, people who aren't watching live don't get to experience chat where everybody is burning James Martin immediately. I'm glad a lifetime of experience has prepared me to play a person who is not qualified for their current position.
This entirely reminds me of the very first episode of Night City, by the way. Can I just say that?
So,
are you familiar, Arthur, with Peter's principle?
No.
Yep.
Is that the one where you rise to above your level of competence?
Yeah, you rise to the level of your own competence because you're good at your job, so you get a promotion. You're good at your job because you get a promotion.
Yeah.
You get to the job you're not good at, and that's where you get stuck.
I didn't know it was called that, but I knew that existed.
It's called Peter's principle. Yeah.
So,
it's a paradox, really.
What do I need to roll for Street Deal to find out all sorts of incriminating things about Mr. Martin and where he lives and how we're going to find him? And
it's a 5. We've already established he's incompetent.
Look, he may be incompetent, but Arasaka certainly isn't, and he probably lives with them. So I just want to warn you before you make this roll that a failure on your part is going to expose you
hold up.
to information leaks and such.
Let's be clear about what I actually want to achieve by fingering this dude.
You tell me.
Group call again.
I want to.
Everybody's back on the phone.
Yep.
I want specifically to hurt the people that he's close to, not him himself. And what I mean by that, I don't mean hurt. I mean show that we have complete and utter access to every part of his life that isn't related to Arasaka.
Why?
I want him to know what it feels like to be completely overpowered.
Wolfgang, why not just kill him?
He's no use to us dead, gentlemen.
He's no use to us alive anymore. I can't trust him as an asset.
I need as many willing insiders as I can get my hands on in order to extract my husband from this corporation. Even if that means making an enemy on the inside, I will do it just to make sure that I have some lead.
So why don't we find somebody in Arasaka who benefits from us burning him down? That way we can take him out of the equation and we can still make you a friend in the process.
All right.
Feel like that.
But I have one consideration that I want to put forward. I'm not the front man that gets the friend in Arasaka.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably not a good idea either. So I think that, Pascal, this is still, you need to burn one asset to gain another, I think.
I'm all for that.
So first off, we need to find who he stepped on the way up.
Okay. So I'm looking to find someone that Martin pissed off on his way up the totem pole that's willing to stab this guy in the back.
Interesting. What you're asking for is extremely specific.
And that's why this role will work if he succeeds.
I agree that it will. What's the time frame you're looking for this information on? You get on the phone and you get it almost immediately, or a week, a month?
I'm willing to wait a week at least. But Wolfgang, this is your, I don't know how long you're willing to be patient.
I want him to come home in the afternoon today and realize that he literally shit the bed. That's what I want. I want immediate resolution to this. Because there is no way that you walk into someone, like if you walked into the Godfather's house and you took a slice of his favorite pie from the fridge, and then you put muddy tracks all over his carpet, there is no way he's going to let you get away with that in a week's time.
That's fine, but you're the one that cautioned that we're doing with Arasaka here. So, the more emotional we make this response, the greater chance we fuck it up.
I'm not a very emotional man, Bishop. But there's one thing that I won't stand, and he's done it.
So you need it today.
I need it 10 minutes ago.
Arthur, what's the roll if I need to do it today?
30.
This is why the life path system works so well. Any other character, I wouldn't have had this much
Revenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's and if I do it in a week,
25.
oh shit, even that's gonna be.
You're asking for very specific information about a specific person who is protected by an intelligence agency he works for.
Go big or go home. There are other methods that Wolfgang could employ.
Well, let me give you a bargain. If you're okay with getting counterintelligence on your tail sniffing up your butt, I'll reduce the difficulty of either of those rolls by 5. You're okay being backhacked.
What's your bonus total, Glimo, for this for street deal?
7 plus 9 is 16. I could put all my luck into it. I really don't like blowing all my luck on the first roll, but I could, and that would give me a 20, which means I'd need to roll at least I've got a 50-50 chance of blowing this thing even to get it in a week. And very little chance of getting it today.
Was there any groundwork that myself or Bishop could do in order to...
That groundwork is going to take, when you say groundwork, it takes time.
Yeah. Unless we go back and see if Dante's people can find anything else on this guy.
That is true.
He's got corporate resources. He said we can use them. But once again, there is a wait list.
Is there a way that I can call in this favor to Dante right now?
Absolutely. You're calling Conte on the phone?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Dante answers and says, "You've got Dante."
I've scratched your back, Dante, and I'm going to continue to scratch it going forward. We have a contract for that. But right now, I need you to make sure that Arasaka and its shit-kicking goons do not walk into my house like they own the place.
You live in an Arasaka neighborhood, correct?
My husband is under lock and key via Arasaka, then there's absolutely nothing I can do about it. But I can stop people thinking that they're big enough to walk in on my house and my turf and do whatever the fuck they want.
I have a permanent solution to your problem, but it will require a rearrangement of your living situation.
Conditions? Okay.
Yes, you go from being a live person to being a dead person. Problem solved.
That is true. It would solve at least one problem for someone.
Considering I've already changed my entire appearance and background just for you, I don't see a problem in this. Depends what you need done, though.
Nothing. Just be at home in 4 hours and be ready to sign for a package. Was there anything else?
No.
You will be required to fill out a weekly assessment form.
Fine.
He hangs up.
You signed up for a drug trial. There you go. Just hope you're in the placebo group.
A bathtub with several kilograms of ice shows up.
What is the ice bathtub, man?
You
This
obviously
isn't a-
got in Cyberpunk 2020. Sorry, 2077. There's quite a few
Yeah, I
scenes
know.
involving. Yeah.
Well, we do.
You know, someone in 15 years is going to look back at Cyberpunk 2077 and be like, the ice bath was a metaphor for change, hostile change in V's life. Every time an ice bath showed up, an extreme change in their life happened moments
It's
after.
not a metaphor. Here's the thing that bothers me. The ice bath has nothing to do with the guy who literally removes people's organs in this game.
You know what I don't understand about the ice bath is like, why would they go to that measure?
Why wouldn't they just kill them? Yeah. Why would they
Like,
just
there's
kill them and
literally-
incinerate the body?
I'm thinking about the fact that multiple times when you go into the net in the game, you've got to use an ice bath rather than the organ harvesters.
Interesting.
Mhm.
I don't want to spoil any further.
You're way ahead of me then.
No, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
It's the only way for non-net runners to experience like actual
'Cause-
like diving into a BBS.
I mean, there's a bunch of scenes as well as you having to cool down netrunners stuck in the
That's true. With
net
cool
and
and
stuff like
flushes.
that.
So
Mhm.
let's hop over to you, Drumurboy, aka Coltan. What's going on with you right now?
I'm having a good old time with Alphonse.
Interesting. I feel like concurrent with the end of this conversation, Alphonse says, "One moment, please," and appears to be taking some sort of call on like a skull-mounted, phone, and then says, "Just one more moment. I need to ship a package." So you were speaking about more on that book that I recommended to you.
Actually, between like the hours that we've got home,
Okay.
like I'd grab the book.
All right, so it's like between the two of you where you're at
Yeah.
his secretary's desk, and I assume you pulled up a chair or something.
Yeah.
He says, well, it truly is fascinating, the discussion of the way ethics and history and the perception of human biology intersect.
I would say so. You're a prime example.
Well, it's hard for me to say where exactly my cybernetic implants came from, and I'm, thankful to you and to Mr. Fierro, of course, for rescuing me from whatever cyber hell I was in. I have no knowledge of my previous life, but this wheelchair and yes, his name is Al Gore. Yes. Alphonse Gore. He prefers to be called his full name. His dad was Al Gore.
And his grandmother was Allegory.
I'm about to give you an allegory. In the end, it's hard to say exactly what I was, but it's about who I am now that matters, and I find myself at peace with very minimal amounts of cyberware intrusion. I could get cybernetic legs, of course, and cybernetic arm replacement, but I get by with just a biological arm and a wheelchair, enhanced as it is. Do I have less than others? I don't see it that way. And, historically, ethically, there are many from Western philosophers like Socrates to the Eastern philosophers like Confucius, who've spoken on the nature of reality being what we determine. In fact, many sects of Buddhism believe your reality is based upon your perception and your truths.
What do you feel about the people who define those realities for others forcefully?
Well, in a way, we really all define realities for each other in some way, as long as one is not a strict nihilist in some way. Someone who has given up all attachment to the material world. Again, echoes of Buddhism here, but as long as you consider the following. I don't have the deepest level of knowledge towards this, but when I see news reports and talk to people recently, it's all, this is my experience growing up Puerto Rican. Am I American? Am I Arasakan? They define themselves so strongly by terms and ties and ideologies, and in the end, we really are just things. We're just things together on a giant rock in space. It's really more like a speck of dust. The things people care about are the things that people before them cared about. And I don't know that they all really have a place in modern society.
So you feel you've found a place you're comfortable with?
Well, it's more that I've come to accept that it's better to live like this than to be a cyber slave. I have no past as far as I can recollect. I can access some knowledge, history, philosophy, teaching, and I understand those are all skills I learned in my, well, what you would call a previous life, but I don't have any memory of learning them. I have no ties or association to them. And even as a tangent to this conversation, consider that my perception of that knowledge is almost certainly warped by how I learned them. The value that the previous me assigned to these things has perhaps warped my memory of what they truly are. I've found myself very introspective as of late. I mean, I've barely been alive for but a few weeks, really, but it's interesting to go back and analyze the knowledge I think I have and check it against what might be more truthful.
Are you aware that there's other people like you?
You mean others who are part of the Cybernetics project?
Yeah.
I am aware that they exist, yes. I don't know that there's anyone particularly like me. I suppose a case could be made that either everyone is like me or no one is like me.
I'm just wondering what you think about nowadays, because
Well,
we knew you a little, barely 5 minutes. I got your attention quickly based on this book, and I'll tap the book.
I am trying to construct a life out of nothing.
Talking, preacher to the choir.
I'm proud of what I have now. I have a goldfish, and I am cordial towards my neighbors. I can move about as I wish throughout this city, and Mr. Fierro has promised me vacation days, and I have what would on paper appear to be a fairly competitive pay scale against others who are not as disabled as I am. Again, some that I've spoken with have expressed pity towards my situation, but I really only have gratitude. Maybe it's because I just don't understand how much time I have. Some people seem to live their whole lives as if time is running out, but for me, every day is a new experience. I can understand those words that I'm saying philosophically, but experientially, what would it be like for each day to pass by so quickly, for them to meld one into another? I don't have that depth of experience, and yet, from my own memory and knowledge, I know it to be true.
Well, I envy you, Alphonse. You don't remember your past.
What is it about your past that has turned you so bitter? You seem to truly carry a lot of disappointment.
When bad things happen, you can laugh them off. You can get angry about them. Or you can just become disappointed. I chose one of the three. I think I'll take your advice, though, and try to build a life for myself.
Is there
During
something
this time, though,
stopping you from doing that?
yes, but I couldn't tell you what. Philosophy. It's a bitch, right?
Yeah, no, like he's nodding over the book that's between the two of you, and he's like, it is a problem that has been ascribed to what is called the human condition.
During this whole conversation, can I roll a diagnose to like, I'm trying to learn more about like what the black cyberware does to people.
Yeah. I don't think that could be done because he has no idea, right? Because he doesn't have it in him anymore.
An awareness notice or a human perception.
I feel like you could diagnose his current condition without it, the absence of such a thing.
Because like Colton's like, he's interested in the conversation, but also in the back of his mind, he's like, this is shit we've never seen before, and we're dealing with shit we've never seen before.
You're doing some psychology or psychiatry. One of those. I never ever remember which one's which, but
both.
You're casually psychologically analyzing your friends, which is
psychiatrists can administer medicine, I think.
Okay. Well, I feel
psychologist is just like or there's therapist and psychiatrist. One of them can offer medicine, and a psychologist is just like a researcher more, I think.
Okay. Given the kind of esoteric nature of the discussion that you're having and of his condition, I'm going to set the difficulty at a 16.
Okay.
For a diagnose.
For a diagnose?
Yep.
Okay. What's diagnose base skill? Int?
I would have thought it was tech.
Enter tech?
I'll take a look, though. I would have thought it'd be tied to the other medical skills.
Because like just like out of game, Colton is like waiting on his enemies to destroy each other, so now he needs a new path.
Diagnosis int.
Oh, it isn't? Okay.
Okay. 16 total.
You know what they say, when a man goes for revenge, he must dig 2 graves. Pascal is like, I'm gonna dig graves for each of my enemies. Yeah, you got it. Okay, so in the absence of the cyberware, he's basically experiencing life in a childlike way, but with the maturity of someone with experience. So he has no perception of things like time or like racism, for example, beyond like textbook academic distinctions. And he's learning context. Like even this conversation is providing him with context.
Why do I always find like like an unwilling father figure to
So the other really interesting thing that's happening here is that his empathy level is skyrocketing without all of the cyberware inside of him and the therapy he's undertaking.
Is that something that you would be able to like just innately find?
What do you mean?
Like,
well, he's taking therapy, so I'm assuming that's
Yes.
helping.
No, I get that, but like, is someone's like empathy? Do you know when someone becomes more empathetic in this world? Like, is it?
Well, this guy went
is
from in the middle of a conversation trying to murder you to sitting here having a discussion about the nature of Buddhism with you. So I feel like there are two very different levels of empathy that have been expressed. Yes. Dave, it's the difference between someone who goes out and brings back food for themselves and someone who goes out and brings back food for themselves, but they also pick up their girlfriend's favorite drink while they're at the store. That's how you know their empathy has increased.
And then their girlfriend dreams about you being happy.
Oh, okay. Oof. Yeah. I thought we were going to have the other callback. No. I would like to take this time to go and break.
Sure.
All right. When we come back in 8 minutes, we'll talk more about my way of misinterpreting Buddhism and psychology. Other things I'm not prepared to speak on in a clinical level.
We're just talking about that Peter principle, whatever. So yeah. We're right where we should be.
Yeah, game masters always rise to the level of bullshit. We'll see you guys on the other side.